Sorry I'm late, brother. Sorry I'm late.
Some big shit is happening right now.
Everything okay?
Everything's great,
Okay.
but we need a fucking good lawyer, bro. An amazing lawyer.
Anything you need, bro.
We need you to be on the Nick and Jimmy show, man.
Thought you never ask. I
do it,
accept
dude.
the mandate.
Let's
my
do
man.
it, baby. Let's do it.
Love it.
I'm Jamie Benizri, founder of Legal Logic, co-founder of TicketAid, and my mission is so pure and it's so simple. I want to revolutionize law. When you think of law, I want you to think of me and my team, and we're going to be the go-to people for business people and anyone who needs legal advice. Jamie Benizri.
So my story, when people meet me for the first time, their reaction is often, who are, that exact question, because you'll see me on social media, you'll see me in court. On the weekends, you're going to see me, in track pants with my kids at the rink. So I think Jamie Benizri is evolving, but at the base, I'm an entrepreneur. And for me, it's engaging with the community, trying to create value in my business and in the legal community. And at the very beginning, I never wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be somebody who made people happy. Mm-hmm. I think I would have been happy selling flowers. I would have been happy, closing, machines kind of in a call center. But at the base, I think I wanted to do law because I wanted to understand society a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And what ended up happening was that I didn't identify with the profession. I didn't see myself in the culture that you see in a traditional law firm. And so I decided to create my own culture. I decided to create my own firm. And the value, the mission that is Legal Logic is to change the dynamic between client and lawyer. We're no longer the gatekeepers of information. So I wanted to empower people with legal tools, legal information. And that's why I have so much respect for what you guys are doing, because you're allowing us to tell our stories. And I want to be that driving force behind change in the legal industry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happening right now in Quebec. Let's talk about weed.
Yeah. So this is something that people are flooding. Every day I get calls from weedpreneurs. Jamie, I want to make brownies. I want to make pills. There's so many weedpreneurs. I think right now we're in a period where everybody thinks that they can make a buck on weed. Just like 6 months ago, we thought we can get rich on crypto.
Yeah, that's right, yes.
And we saw what happened
What
there.
a hype.
There was a lot of hype. So the reality today in Canada is that we haven't legalized marijuana, cannabis. We've decriminalized it. So there's a huge difference for me. So what we're saying is, yeah, you can smoke it, but we haven't legalized it in the sense of kind of opening it up to our markets. And that's the issue. It's controlled by a very tight-knit group, and it's not open to people like you and me. If you have $5 million to invest in a facility, nobody cares because you're not getting the licenses, you're not getting the permits, and nobody's gonna give you access to a permit just because you have cash or you have the growing capacity. So there's a huge difference. Unfortunately, we're not able to pierce that veil yet, but it's gonna come. It's the first step. So we've decriminalized, we haven't necessarily legalized. And that's what's happening right now.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And when you do law, obviously, is it commercial lawyer? What are you doing?
Yeah, so you know what? A lot of people sometimes are scared to hire me because they're like, you're
hired. Let's go.
Thank you, bro. But they're scared to hire me because they say, how could you possibly give the time to the file? How can I possibly trust you to handle my file? You're all over the place. I see you in court. I see you at events. You're a spokesperson for certain brands. And my answer is very simple, is that right now with the team that I've developed, with the people around me, I'm able to leverage my team and dedicate myself to the limited number of clients that I have. So now I'm actually practicing more law now than I have in the last 5 years because we've established the processes, the procedures, the efficiencies, and the team that allow me to give you a really good deal on the law services that we're going to offer you, and for me to come in when it's really needed. During the negotiations, during the trial, if we have to fly to Florida to close somebody in Boca, whatever it is, I want to be there when there's value to be added. And so now, because of the procedures and the team that I've built, I'm able to give more of myself, but only when you really need Jamie Benizri.
Got it.
And so I do a lot of corporate and commercial law. I'm in court quite a bit, and so I have a nice balanced portfolio of clients.
Love it.
Yeah.
Amazing. And what's the biggest challenge doing what you're doing?
Everybody wants a piece of me. Not because I'm the best, not because, Jamie.
But I thought you're married.
I'm definitely, I'm the Lord of the Rings. Everybody thinks that because they see me on YouTube and because they saw something I said on YouTube or at an event or in a blog, that I'm the best person to answer that question. And that's great. This is what we wanted to do. We wanted to educate the market, and we were hoping that the market would respond and would bless us with all the dividends and the clients and all the goodwill. And so thank God I've been able to capture all that value. But now you got to be careful what you ask for, because now when the demand starts coming in, Benizri starts, falling back a little bit. And so the biggest challenge, I think, in any profession, when it's built around one person, one leader, is how do you provide value to everybody, more than just the people that we're talking to. And so the biggest challenge for me was trying to give the value without necessarily being there, and making sure that I can teach my team to have the same values, to educate and be better than me in any given situation.
And how do you provide those values?
Like leadership, when we had a conversation, as soon as I walked in, I'm like, when I see all the guys hustling and bustling out there that I love, I'm like, so do you guys still get on the phone? And you said, yeah, we still get on the phone, because it's important for you. People need to smell the gunpowder on you. They need to smell that you can still close, you can still do things. Otherwise, leadership skills and values start to diminish.
100%.
So when people know that when you get on the phone, you're gonna make it happen, that's inspiring. I want to see you. I'd love to see you close. Maybe we could do a cold call today together.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see you close.
Well, we're going to close you right now.
So I think
You accept credit card, right?
100%.
There we go.
One of the things that I think is most important is providing those values, but making sure that people see that Benizri can still go to court. I can still read a contract, and I can still have
You're still part of the game.
Still part of
in the trenches, basically.
I'm still in the trenches.
And tell us, okay, because a lot of entrepreneurs, when they start, they have the do-it-yourself mentality.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you've been talking a lot about team and team and team. How important is teamwork?
Team becomes everything. I mean, could you imagine doing, having what you have without the structure out there?
Oh.
It really comes down to knowing where you're strong at, but also recognizing your limitations. And a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people who get into business for themselves, they want to save a buck on legal. They want to process their payments on PayPal, and all the things that society tells us we should be doing. We do it. We fall for the trap. We're part of the game, and we're in the maze. And you know what? Unfortunately, the best learning experience is the hard knock, the one where you get beat down, you get slapped down. But I think it's
How do you get up?
How do you get up, and how do you actively listen to people?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And a lot of people, unfortunately, do not take the advice. And by listening to shows like this, when you're hearing people and all the mistakes that we've made and all the values that we have, it's not just the glamour. I mean, there's so much blood, sweat, and tears behind everything that we do. And it's like that great picture of the iceberg.
exactly.
Where you see the tip,
Yep.
and all the crap is covered with the water, the
That's
foundation, the struggle, the hustle, the debt, all the shit that we did to get to that beautiful little apex.
Exactly.
And I've made so many mistakes, in my career where, I wish I hired a controller earlier on. I wish I invested more in my structure and my foundation early on and my administration, instead of developing and pushing growth at all costs. And so we don't think about these things because we put our blinders on and we entrepreneurs grind. But I think that I've really tried to learn from the mistakes, and that's really what's going to differentiate success or not. It's kind of everyone's going to get beat down. It's just how are you going to react when you're struck down.
And actually, talking about a lot, and one of the reasons why we started the show is because a lot of people see someone successful like yourself. See, this guy was lucky. He did it because of this, because of that.
Yeah.
Say some of the challenges that you had to face.
That's so good. Social media. I had a great conversation with somebody at an event last night, and they said, "Well, how do you keep up the momentum, and how is it that you're everywhere?" And in fact, I think that your attitude is really everything, and
Mindset.
Mindset is so important. A positive mindset changes everything, and it's very cliche, but people want to surround themselves with positive people that make them happy, people that inspire them, and things happen naturally from that point on. It's kind of this method of The Secret, and the spirituality, and the balance
attraction
of the world. I'm not that kind of person. I mean, I believe in that to a certain extent. But I think it's all positivity, man. People want to surround themselves with positive people. It makes them feel good, and it reinforces all the decisions that they make. So I think that a lot of the mistakes that I made was not surrounding myself with the right people, but more importantly, not holding them accountable to certain standards. Over-delegating, and not checking back in at certain key points, in their mandate and making things clear. And so my issue has always been very strong leadership and management style that was always lacking because I was never around that much. I was in court, I was developing business, I was, on social media, I was talking to, the OACIQ for trainings, and I was, doing these things. And I think that in retrospect, I wish I communicated my message clearer to my team, to my clients, to my partners. This is where the real value is. And all these things that we do is for them, and for them to be able to, have a great experience, a career with whatever you're building. So I take a lot of the blame for that. I still feel guilty that I kind of let down a lot of my team members and a lot of the people that were with me because I wasn't clear enough with what we were doing. And for me, it was very clear. And for my audience, it seemed clear. Wow, this is exciting. This guy's changing the game. He's innovating in law. But at the end of the day, you got to go back to the team that's going to support you and make sure that it's super clear for them and that you're holding them accountable for what you want to do. This is your vision. So you got to go back and check on that vision every now and then. So I wish I did that more frequently.
Let's talk about skill set, because you're a great leader, communicator, right? Presenter, and so on and so on. You're great with people. What do you read books? What do you do to get better and better and better?
Yeah, so good. It takes a while to read a book. Books are long to read. We have the attention span of a freaking mouse.
ADD.
Yeah, everyone has ADD, right? If everyone did the test, we would all fail.
Yeah, 100%.
My wife is a doctor. She tests me all the time. I fail every time. I don't get better. And I try to work on it. And I think it's so important to read because it's not that there's going to be maybe 2 pages out of 300 that are going to bring any value. You've heard half the shit before. It takes time to read a book. We're just checking Facebook and watching TV and having a conversation with our kids and our wives while reading a book. But I think the most exciting, the most important part about the book is that you're not thinking about anything else, and you're fully directing your attention to something completely different. And I think that your mind starts to wander. And so I recently read the trilogy, 3 books by Noah Yuval Harari, and had nothing to do with law, had nothing to do with business. It was the history of the world in her style. And she talked about how do we develop religions and how do we develop communities and how did networking start and what's the future, the digital future of what we're doing. And so many of my recent ideas come from that because she traced the mistakes that we did, what the Romans did, what the Greeks did, what the Jews did, what the Palestinians are doing, all these kind of things. And she made a great historical context for everything, how we got to here where we are now. And it really changed my perspective. And so those exercises, cost me like $75 for 3 books, and it could literally change your perspective because you're thinking about it. And you're like, fuck, why do I do things like that? And maybe it's okay not to believe in a certain set of skills that a society or that my mom and dad told me I should believe in. And so I think that's the most important way to stay up to date. So I try to read as many books as I possibly can. And there's so many great apps. Like there's Blinkist. For $10 a month, you get unlimited. It's like Cole's Notes books. And I put it on 2 times speed. So when I'm listening to these things as I run, I'm reading an entire book in 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
They break it down.
It's called Blinkist.
Blinkist. I'll
keep that in mind,
So it's like the Cole's Notes. You get like a book in 10 minutes. All the key points.
Okay.
And there's Audible and audio books and everything. And
So when you work out, you don't listen to music. You listen to...
I'll do half-half. It depends how tired I am.
Exactly, yeah.
I'll maybe start with music and finish with an audiobook.
Yeah.
But honestly, people, and I'm looking at Goss magazine, and I'm looking at, I'm thinking about the Nick and Jimmy show right now because my favorite influencers are local. These are people, not Tim Ferriss, who's a great writer, not Bill Gates, who's prolific, but people who are doing real shit today. You guys are doing real shit. When I walk out of your studio, you have a real business. And this is what I love. It's not just influencing and being somebody who's providing value as a messenger. You guys have real skill sets. You have a real business. And this is why the show for me is so much more powerful, is because you guys are living it. You're closing. You're on the phones. You have employees. You know what it takes.
Absolutely.
And you're doing it now.
Thank you.
So that's what I love. So when I think about influence and keeping up to date, I'm flipping through my Insta stories. I'm devouring my LinkedIn feed because I want to know what people are doing today. And so getting a glimpse into your day provides a lot of value for me because I know what's happening in the market. I know what's happening out in Montreal. I know what the trends are happening. And this is important for me as a lawyer and as a business owner to spot certain things that are happening in my city. So these are hugely important ways for me to be engaged and stay up to date.
Now,
So thank you.
You're very well. Thank you for being on the show and for really, the nice compliments. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And obviously, you did a lot of different things like the normal traditional attorney.
Yeah.
Did people at the beginning try to crucify you? You're crazy.
Yeah, they still do. They still do.
Very good question.
So there was a great comment online, and then there was an article written about me on Droit Inc., which is kind of like the TMZ of law.
Okay.
It's like a
Droit.
gossip.
Really?
Droit Inc. It's like a
Droit Inc.
gossip
Droit.
column.
Okay.
So somebody wrote a column about me, and all the comments started coming, the frenzy. And the first comment that showed up was, Jamie Benizri, ... the Kim Kardashian of law. And at first I'm like, what the is calling Kim Kardashian of law? And afterwards I'm like, you know what, it's cool, I'm okay with it. Because, I think that it takes somebody who can take that beating, who can take
Criticism,
a bruising, who can take the punches and feel okay with it. I sleep at night, I go home, I don't think about these things. When I go home, I become a father. I throw all the other stuff out for a couple of hours until I'm back on my computer at the end of the night. But I think that it's important to be able to take that criticism and turn it into fuel and turn it into something more positive.
Love it.
And I think that you guys have that quality too, especially when you're trying to innovate and when you're trying to do things differently. And so it's taken a lot. It's been very taxing trying to have a legal conversation, trying to push the limits of how far lawyers can go and what's a lawyer's role today. I see it very differently. Lawyers aren't just somebody who's going to pump out a contract. You need to look out for the blind spots. You need to have the business considerations. You need to be able to try to save your clients money by trying to settle stupid shit that doesn't belong in court, not because it's better for your bottom line. So today the conversation for me is very different. Trying to be as honest, overly over-deliver to provide more value, than ever, because we have a privileged position, and it should be to our client's advantage. So I don't remember what the hell your question was.
But people do they bash you? When,
Do you have naysayers?
Yeah, naysayers.
Yeah, look, I have naysayers and I have people who make up fake accounts and will talk shit about me. And, I've had to go to court a couple times for some...
Or how about early stages of your career?
I think it takes a long time to be adopted in the market and be taken seriously. I've been in the game for about 5 years in this kind of a market, in this kind of a legal logic context, aggressively over the past 2-3 years. And at first people thought it was cute. Jamie Benizri, it's just, it's a fad. Legal logic is not going to be around. And so it kind of fueled the next level. And I wanted to grow and I wanted to mature and I wanted to show that, this concept of democratizing law and creating a conversation about law and having a more active role in the community, that this could be a viable business model for a law firm today.
Absolutely.
And this is why cause marketing is so important to me. So I literally, last year, I had the marketing budget, I'd say, of a national law firm. And at a certain point, we looked at our numbers. I'm like, what the hell is this? What's going on here? And when my controller came in, he's like, where's the ROI on your Facebook boosts? Where is the ROI on all these Logic TV that you're doing? Like, why are you spending all the money on this? And I had a hard time answering him. I said, I don't really know. And I still do a lot of that stuff, but I scaled down significantly. We no longer have a marketing manager. I oversee the marketing. I'm lucky that we have staff that's able to assist in a lot of the execution of that. But things changed dramatically when I closed the pipes. I closed the faucets and I said, we're not spending money on anything anymore. We're not spending money on any marketing. We've been in the market for 3 years, investing so heavily in the community, in our name, in my name, in our reputation. I need to make sense of this, what we've done. So I removed all my budget. I killed the entire department. And essentially, something incredible happened.
Sales increased.
Sales increased. ROI was there. And every single social media post that you see under Jamie Benizri, under Legal Logic, under Instagram, under Twitter, under a blog, under a newsletter is my voice. And eventually I hope my voice is transmitted to them and they help me execute a lot of these posts, but everything is written by me. And it's very simple, is that people know when it's not written by you. People know when it's a generic post. People know when it's done by a corporate type who's just pumping out a weekly commitment that he has with you. So when I go to an event, this is an experience that I had. How the f*** am I going to transmit that experience to a marketing director or an intern or somebody else? I'm going to waste a half an hour just to try to explain it to them. They're going to write something, I have to review it. Then we're going to have to go back and forth. And by that time, it's old news. No one cares where I was 2 days ago. It's over. And so now the name of the game for me is, it's the now economy. We're delivering information now, and the information is pumped out as fast as humanly possible, which is why I'm up at 4 a.m., which is why I go to
4 a.m. Wow, man. Good for you, man.
Which is why I'm burning the midnight oil until whenever we have to. It's because for me, communication is so intimately tied to you, your voice, that it's really hard to find somebody who knows how to write the way that you would sound. I mean, we know each other at this point. I know when you're gonna write something. I know how it's gonna sound. So, if he writes something, I'm sure it'll be good, but it won't be you. And I think the authenticity aspect is so key, because when people meet me, they feel like they know me. And they're citing my posts. Jamie, you said something about, FedEx, and I really connected with that post, or I really liked that, or you were vulnerable, during that post. A marketing manager is not going to be vulnerable. He's going to be safe. He's going to pump out good content, but it's never going to be able to let you connect with your audience. And there's so much content today that there's no time. There's no time for generic posts. We got to pump out stuff that's as human and authentic as possible.
It makes total sense. I totally
You know
agree.
what I mean?
Absolutely. Let's talk about daily activity.
Yeah.
So you wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, I wake up at 3:30. I wake up at 4.
What time do you sleep, man?
Sometimes I'll crash it. Like I'll literally pass out at 10 because like my body shuts down. Sometimes I'm up till like 11, 11:30.
So wake up at 4, then what?
So my grind is essentially waking up while I have full mental faculties intact and I feel strong. I'm pumping out my real legal work happens between 4 and 6, 4 and 5. I'm pumping out a hard legal work where I need to really concentrate. That's where I'm most efficient. I could be hyper productive. By 5:15, all my emails are done. I've pumped out my stuff. My marketing is done. My posts are half drafted. Maybe I'll get back to them later. And 2-3 days a week, I'll go for a run for half an hour.
2-3 times a week?
Yeah. Come back in the house and try to sneak back in the house and for my kids to wake up. And they wake up and then my mornings are on autopilot until they're on the bus. And then I'm a firefighter pretty much all day.
Wow.
I'm hanging out with you guys. I'm with clients. I'm in court. I'm in settlement conferences. I'm reviewing the contracts that I drafted the night before, the week before. I'm putting out fires. I'm developing new clients.
How many assistants do you have?
I have 2 assistants that work with me, but then there's an office of people that kind of encompass all the things that that we do. So all day it's pretty much I'm pretty much a lawyer all day. I'll take a break. For me, this is like a break.
It's like
fun.
the Montreal version of Suits.
I think we're, that's people will say that a lot, especially in our office. It's very dynamic. It's young. It's very vibrant. You guys are gonna have to come. I really want.
Our lawyer just retired, so
that's it.
Well, to be discussed.
That's it. There's gonna be a mutual closing today. I really want to create the most dynamic, fun, and non-traditional legal environment possible, where it's just fun. People are having a good time. People are serious when they need to be, but in between, there's just a lot of good vibes. We deal with so much shit on a daily basis, so much stress, that if we can't be ourselves, if we can't be happy, and if we're not working with the people that we're going to be spending 60 hours a week with, then it's not worth it.
Here's another question for you. What's your record?
In court? Man, that's a good question. So I've been beat down in court, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Early on in your career, you get into, you can't pick your clients, especially in the beginning of your career. So, and it's funny, it's rare that somebody challenges me, and no one's really asking that question point blank in a while. But early on in your career, you can't choose all your clients. And you don't know if it's a winning case. And sometimes clients will testify badly. And sometimes there's aces in the hole that come out afterwards. And sometimes the judge just doesn't like your client because he's an asshole. Or he got beat down in a cross-examination. So my record is probably average. It's probably not amazing. I was traditionally, I don't think my style has changed, has evolved, matured. But I was the lawyer that tried to, that believed in the person and their story, even if it was a shitty legal case. And that was important for that person to get their time in court. And so I would sacrifice sometimes even my reputation, insisting that we do certain things or that my client be heard, because I thought it was the right thing to do, and because in my naive innocence of getting into the game, I couldn't differentiate what was winning and what was losing. So I think my record is affected by that. Going forward, I try to only pick winners now, and even if I have winners, I'll try to force them to settle because it's not worth spending money on me. Because even they say a shitty settlement is better than a good judgment because it can be appealed, it can go on and on and on, it can be delayed for 5 years. So my record's getting better, and I hope by the time I get onto season 7, it's pristine.
Good. I appreciate your honesty, man.
No, it's good, and you keep it real.
100%. Look,
Keep it real. You're transparent.
You're not bullshitting. You're not just trying to.
I can't. My record speaks
like
for itself.
that. I love it.
Good for you, man.
I think whatever happens is, I need to be transparent with my clients.
Absolutely.
And I need to be real with what I've done in my career.
Because the truth always comes out anyways, right?
The truth is always going to come out.
Exactly.
Am I Montreal's best lawyer? No, I'm not. Technically, I am not Montreal's best lawyer. I think
Not yet.
Not yet. And you know what? I'm not striving to be the best lawyer.
But you're building the best environment for lawyers.
I want to build the best
Exactly.
environment. I want my lawyers.
You said it.
I want my lawyers to be the best lawyers.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to be the best at identifying your situation and providing the solutions.
Love it.
In a very business and pragmatic manner. Okay, and yes, sometimes we'll have to go to court, and that's where I want my lawyers to be the best lawyers. Technically speaking, they should be 100 times better than me.
Or you think of expanding the name Legal Logic to Ontario?
So,
Catchy name. I like it.
Thank you. What happened was that if you asked me that question 2 years ago, I would have told you that I want a Legal Logic office in every city in the world. Today, I don't necessarily want that, and I'll tell you why. I think that Legal Logic has become a concept, it's become a brand, and it's become a lifestyle. And just like Michael Jordan kind of coexists with Nike, Air Jordan and Nike have this symbiotic relationship that each of them have this brand power. I want to be this resource platform for lawyers, hopefully around Canada, US, even beyond, not to render legal services, but to be this hub where lawyers, where it's almost like an association where lawyers can have are backed by this firm that has the resources, that has the style, that has a global network of lawyers, clients, professionals. And so it's more than just law. Legal Logic for me will become a platform of like-minded lawyers who do their own thing.
It's like a back office.
It's a back office. It's a branded back office to give you the resources, to plug you into a bigger network and give you access to an international network.
Like a LinkedIn for lawyers?
Pretty much.
Okay, got it.
Pretty much, vis-a-vis the client.
Yeah.
And I think we're lacking that because right now the market is, the legal market is like 150 years behind, the oldest industry, the oil and gas industry, whatever it is. We've always done things the same way. Aristotle was billing by the hour 300 years ago, 3,000 years ago, or whenever the hell Aristotle existed. But I say that.
You're talking about Onassis?
Yeah, no,
Or Aristotle. Okay.
Aristotle.
My bad.
Any lawyer going back to the old days has billed by the hour, and I think that the legal industry has benefited from its position of privilege, but I also think that we have the obligation to evolve and make sure that we're doing things responsibly, and that we're acting as a team within the rest of the ecosystems that we help build. So I want Legal Logic to be a reference for professional services, legal services. Montreal, Quebec, Ontario. We have sister offices in Saguenay and in Quebec City, and we have satellite office in Ontario. But I think it could be so much more than that.
So it's not like Normally, when people think of lawyers, they think of, okay, I'm just another number to them,
Correct.
another dollar sign to them.
Correct.
Now you're trying to make it the relationship.
The relationship needs to be there. And so just like regular, regular cabs or people will link into this Uber network,
Yeah.
we want to Uberize the
Attorneys,
industry
yeah.
to make sense of it, to consolidate it, and to give lawyers kind of in every corner of the world the opportunity to be part of a broader mission.
So if somebody would ask you, why should I pick Legal Logic, your answer would be?
My answer is because we have resources, mission, and a set of principles that, for the first time, are more aligned with the client than they are with their own interests.
Cool.
And I say that, and talking about leading by example, we want our clients to be part of the fundraisers that we do, whether it's the Lakeshore, whether it's whatever it is. We want to lead by example. We want to be an integral part of the community and bring our clients into those opportunities. So we're leading by example to be part of the community, to give opportunities in business and community engagement to our clients. And so we want to be a community conscious law firm that plugs you into different opportunities that you never had before.
Awesome.
And to give you the tools you need without opening up your wallet. I mean, if you want to incorporate and you don't know if it's a federal or provincial corporation, I don't want to answer that goddamn question. Go on YouTube and the answer is there for you. It's going to be me sitting in a chair like this saying, here's why you should do this or here's why you should do that. Instead of having a consultation with me, take my book and I'll walk through an entire consultation. And so the idea is
Resourceful.
to be resourceful, to provide the value. And I think that when you need Jamie Benizri, you absolutely need Jamie Benizri because there's high stakes or because there's value for me to add, then I'll be there as your lawyer. But there's no reason. I mean, I think it's so important. You've had Gumbly on the show.
Yeah.
Texted me 5 minutes ago. I have a lot of respect for John's style of management because he knows exactly how to use the people around him. And I don't say use in the bad way. He calls his lawyers when he absolutely has plateaued his understanding of where he's going in a lease or a negotiation. John negotiates his own freaking leases and will call me to answer one tiny question, so small that I can't even bill him because the question is so small, because he's done all the legwork. John will do his own blueprints. John will do his own design. John will go to Japan to do his own market research.
Very street smart.
Very street savvy. He knows enough about all the people that he's working with.
Oh, we respect him very much. Great
guy.
Great guy.
He can have an intelligent conversation with every single one of the people on his
Absolutely.
staff and all the professionals around him. And that's what makes him so powerful.
Absolutely.
Is that he's not blind passing. And I think it's important to blind pass for certain things. But he takes control of everything. No one's going to look after your shit better than you. Even the best lawyer is going to forget to dot a T, cross a T, dot an I, make a virgule that can change the whole landscape of your contract. And that for me is the best lesson in business is making sure that you spend enough time. Spend the money in the beginning on your lawyer. Spend the money on the accountant. But make sure this is almost like an MBA that you're paying for. Spend the time. This is the best MBA. Spend the time with the lawyer. Ask him the questions at the beginning. Why did you change that? Why did you do this? Don't just take the comments and send it off to the other party. Capture that value. Because on your 4th, 5th, 6th deal, you won't need the lawyer anymore at a certain point, and you'll be much more powerful in negotiating and taking control of your business decisions, I think.
So you're very, very big on social media. I think a lot on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your opinion on social media in 2018 and how important is it for business?
I think it's important for business. I think it's more important for the individual behind the business. I have no idea what your company's called. I know there's a couple.
NPS Canada.
I know there's a couple letters in there. I know that starts with an N.
Yeah.
And I don't say that because I don't care or because it's not important or because it's not a recognized brand. But I know the two guys behind the brand. And I know what they stand for because of this. I know Nick and Jimmy. I don't know NPS.
Yeah.
And I say that jokingly because today people want to know who they're doing business with. They want to know what you stand for. And I think they want to know how that's going to be a reflection of them. If I do a deal with Jamie, how is he going to be perceived with the people that I'm going to put him in contact with? So today, We're talking about lifting the cultural veil. We're lifting the cultural veil. And I make the analogy because in law we have the corporate veil. When we have an incorporation, we close the veil.
Yeah.
Don't touch the shareholders behind. They're at arm's length. The corporation is at arm's length with the shareholders, and everybody keeps their distance. The cultural veil today is lifting up the gates, lifting up the veil and seeing who's behind the company, and poking around to see what's going on inside the company. And I think that's why doing things in your own voice is so important, because the Nick and Jimmy show, the value that you guys are going to have, the way that you're going to portray yourself is going to have a direct impact on your business.
Absolutely.
So I really try hard. Yeah, my Legal Logic LinkedIn profile, a little more conservative. We pump out things a little bit less personal, if you will. There's always going to be personal touches, but it's a little bit more of a diluted Jamie voice. Jamie goes all out. I don't talk about law ever. It's really about me in the community and the experiences that I'm having as a lawyer who's speaking with friends, colleagues, and business partners. And so for me today, the most important thing is no one needs to be sold anymore. Trying to sell today, I think the name of the game is selling without selling. Being yourself, being vulnerable, and just telling people about the things that you do through your experience. And when you give people value, and the value that you guys are giving indirectly through the interviews that you're doing and everything else, this is why people are going to want to do business with you, because they can trust you, because you're consistent, and they know you're not going anywhere. You've been in the game a long time. Your interviews keep getting pumped out once a week.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are consistent. People are going to love that because you're being authentic. This is completely unscripted. I had no idea I didn't even know if this was happening because I never pressed accept on the invite that you sent me. I think you sent me an invite. I didn't even press accept. And then I was looking, and when I saw it today, I'm like, oh fuck, I never accepted it. I don't even know if it's canceled. And I say that because we didn't script this. I had no idea what we were going to talk about. So you guys are obviously being authentic, and I think that's so hard. People like to hide behind the alternative selves that they have because they're either uncomfortable with what they're doing or they're not ready to kind of tap into that authenticity.
That's right. And we mentioned many times in season 2 that most people fail because they care too much about what other people think about them.
Yeah, I think so too.
So they don't take action, And at the beginning we're like, what are people gonna say? But we're like, you know what? Who cares? Let's just make it happen. Let's go back in time now. So you started Legal Logic 8 years ago or 5 years ago?
It was in 2011 where it started.
Okay.
And then we were kind of coasting. We were doing...
and that was...
It was just me. It was just me in the office. I had an intern.
How about your experience?
I had 2 years of experience. I was a prosecutor for the city of Montreal.
Okay.
And then I was working in a small office in Laval, doing some corporate work. I was doing some commercial.
So you gained
work.
some experience?
Yeah, I was very quiet, and I wasn't. I was absorbing, I was learning the language of law and how it relates and how it works. And at a certain point, clients didn't want to speak to me anymore because I was, billing them by the hour because that's what I was supposed to do. And the whole dynamic of it wasn't me. People were running away from me because of the way that I was conducting my business. And I couldn't relate to it. I couldn't identify with it. And I said, you know what? This is what's happening.
Wasn't your purpose?
Wasn't my purpose. And I told my wife, I'm out of here. I'm going to do my own thing. And she said, please don't. You have no idea what you're doing. And I told her I was going to do it anyway. And, little baby at home. And, I did it. And, I learned literally as we were going. So trying to learn a profession and managing, clients and going to court and building a business. And it was like...
Overwhelming.
Man.
And you were solo.
I was solo, and I had, people came in and they stayed with me and they never left. And, now it's, now I'm able to spot somebody who's pure bullshitting me. And now I'm able to spot, trends. I've gone through, we're blessed that we've had, over 10,000, files, and I've learned a lot. And now I need to make sense of all this data, and more importantly, turn that into programs, platforms, and opportunities for the rest of Quebec, for the rest of Canada. How can I give you access to all the things that I've learned? It's not just about being the gatekeeper and charging you because I have this information. But now my biggest focus going into 2019 is trying to open source Jamie Benizri and trying to give you access to all the experience that I've had to your benefit. So if you buy a home and there is a crack in the foundation, well, do I really need a lawyer? Maybe I could go to a website and walk through all the steps and everything's prepared for me and everything is dynamic from beginning to end. And I think that is my mission, is making sure that you have access to all the experience that I've developed and that I've learned over the years.
Tell us about your childhood. You said your parents were separated, divorced.
Yeah, parents were separated. You know, I think the influence from my childhood really comes a lot from.
And you're born in Montreal, right?
Born in Montreal, yeah. Born and raised in DDO. Spent a lot of time with my grandfather growing up. My grandfather is somebody who came from Poland.
Oh.
World War II.
Nastrovia.
No, yeah, he came through Poland, but ended up in Montreal after the war. After his, most of his family was annihilated after the war. Writes after the Red Cross kind of, takes them in, and he writes a letter to a cousin who he thinks he has in Canada. Doesn't even know he's in Montreal. He doesn't even know where Canada is. And he writes a postcard, which eventually finds its way to Boulevard Saint-Laurent in Montreal. He's got a cousin who's doing something here in Montreal, and he got sponsored. He came here to Montreal with the proverbial two nickels to rub together, and the rest becomes history. He has the immigrant grind of coming here with absolutely no opportunities other than one cousin who got him this little job sewing and cleaning and doing all kinds of things, and for the next 50 years, him and his wife, my grandmother, are sewing clothes, and they have shops in Repentigny, and little by little, just like you guys have heard the stories. I mean,
of course.
And so a lot of that talk of culture and working for 7 days straight, and getting yelled at when you don't eat all of the chicken on your plate, or when there's a shred of chicken left on your bone after you eat a meal.
Never waste the food.
You know what I mean? That stays with you, right?
Of course.
So that's kind of a lot of the perspective, that I came from. And obviously, we weren't poor, but I mean, we would go for dinner and my mom would be like, you're not getting a soft drink tonight. And these are I think these are important messages because, and I'm guilty of doing it with my kids. We're completely spoiled. I mean, gift after gift, Christmas and Hanukkah and this and birthday gifts, and just one toy is replaced by the next, and we don't care. And so I think that there's such an important message in trying to hold off from getting that Lamborghini, that Ferrari, that BMW, because it really doesn't bring that much happiness.
Yeah.
You drive it for a week.
Material.
You know what I mean? You drive it for a week, and then the new car smell goes away, and you forget about it. So I really try not to get carried away with material things. I like to look good. I like to feel good. But really, for me, at the end of the day, it's really relationships that are going to make us happy, and our community engagement that's going to make us super happy. And if we can make money while we're doing that, for me, that's a slam dunk.
Is there any time, even today, sometimes you wake up in the morning, you just want to quit?
It's very rare. I think I really, there's advice that says you should never go to bed angry, especially with your wife. There's days where I get home and I'm just like, man, I got the life beat out of me today. And I think days like that are the days that I spend not doing the things that I absolutely love. When I'm in court for too long, when I'm not feeling productive that day, it's going to have an impact on everything that I do. I'm generally a very positive guy. I surround myself with very positive people. And I don't get stressed and I don't get angry. And it makes the people around me really mad when I'm not stressed or I'm not angry. Sometimes people are like, how are you okay with that? Like, he just did something really messed up.
Yeah.
Like, how are you okay with that? I'm like, look, it's nothing I can do. We can deal with it. Let's move on. But for me, when I go to sleep, whether it's 3 hours, 4, 5, 6 hours, the next day I wake up, it's the reset. You wake up, you thank whatever God you pray to.
That's right.
You do whatever meditation thing you do. You go for a run, snap the out of it. No one gives a shit about what happened yesterday. No one cares. So I think every day, we have this ultimate reset. Every single day we wake up with this great opportunity to wipe the slate clean and change whatever we didn't like from the day before. So this whole idea of Groundhog Day and doing something you don't like every day, day in and day out, I mean, for me, that's a death sentence.
So do you think it's important to have passion
I think
Are you passionate?
I think everything stems from passion, and sometimes passion I think is misdirected. Am I passionate about law? No, I'm not. I'm passionate about helping people, connecting with people, and providing value
I
for
love
things
it.
that are important to them.
I love it. Absolutely.
And so I could be like I said in the beginning, I could be selling flowers. I could be on the phone with your boys in the front.
As long as you're helping somebody.
You know what I mean? I don't think that, I don't think that I would be happier doing something else. Should I have done something else as a vehicle from Jamie the entrepreneur? Maybe. But I think that law for me gave me the opportunity to help a lot of people, to have great opportunities with friends, colleagues, and businesses that I get involved with. But for me, the passion always comes with people.
Absolutely.
And Jamie, obviously you're not a 9-to-5er. You're a full-fledged entrepreneur.
Yeah, man. Sometimes I wish I had a 9 to 5. Don't you wish you had a 9 to 5 sometimes?
It's a simpler life, right?
When was the last time you guys called in sick?
It's been a while.
You're looking around. I know you've never called in sick.
It's been a while. And now that's if I'm puking and really under my sheets.
Yeah.
But for a little sinus, no.
It's not going to happen, right? Sometimes I wish I can call in sick. I don't know how to.
But how has you been an entrepreneur? Because a lot of entrepreneurs say that they have no balance at home. Did you experience that?
Man, that's a tough question. It's really hard to find balance. And I really, really, really do not want to be that dad and that husband that's always like this. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, go ask your mother. Yeah, you can go. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy, man. No one wants to be that guy.
No.
That's shitty. I think our kids, deserve more than that. And,
So how do you balance it, man?
I really try to do things deliberately to get away from everything that I do when I'm on. I want to get away from social media. I want to get away from my computer. I want to get away from the phone completely. And I think we do that by doing activities and by being active and trying to set boundaries for ourselves. And it's super hard. It's really hard to have boundaries these days because everything leaks into one another. And so when I'm going out, for dinner with my wife on a Saturday, I'll try to deliberately leave my phone at home. Even if not too many people are calling me, I don't want that. I don't need it.
If they really want to find you, they're going to find you.
You know what I mean? I don't my wife has her phone.
Exactly.
I don't need to. You don't need to have your phone. I think it's important to set boundaries. Super important. If I'm getting involved.
I think I should do that too.
Man, it's we have to remind ourselves too, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be on the ice with my daughter. You don't need your cell phone, man. You just leave it off. Close it. Go on the ice and just
family
do something.
first.
You know what I mean? Go on the ice with your daughter and just focus for an hour. On just being, with the kids and just having a good time.
Be present.
You gotta be present, man. So, I don't think it's necessarily, even if I worked for somebody else and it was downtown, I'd probably still be home, probably less. And I tell my wife that, and she's like, well, you're always, you're never home during the week. And I really try to rush home. And I really want to rush home and turn that stuff off and spend time with the family and the kids. And I'll go back to my computer later, right? All this to say that I don't think it's the number of hours that we spend with our children, with our wife, with our girlfriend. I think it's really what we do when we spend time with them.
Exactly, the quality.
It's the quality and it's what you do and how engaged you are, right? I mean, there could be stay-at-home dads who spend their whole time watching football.
Exactly.
And, in their man cave, and they're going to tell their wives, I'm always here. I'm always here. What's up? What's wrong?
But you're not there.
His friends are always over. They're always playing poker, NFL Sundays, hockey Saturdays, whatever. What does that really mean? It doesn't mean shit for me. So I'd rather try to be hyper-focused during the week. I'm going to try to be home for dinner as much as I possibly can. I'm going to be there in the morning to take them to the bus that I do every single morning. So we spend that quality time together. Can I do better? 100%. But I think it's important really to set parameters so that you're not like this the whole time. And we're all, we all fall victims to that. So I really try to separate that,
Let's talk about networking. How important is attending networking events?
The best scenario I can tell you is that, you don't realize how important networking is until you're out of a job or you need somebody in a specific profession, whatever. And I'll often meet people who, through their network, will find the next job super easily, or will find the next contract because of their surroundings. So people who are isolated, who do their day-to-day, who disregard that, those are the people who will never see the value and who will never hear about those people because for us, they don't exist. You guys are out there.
We met you at the LinkedIn event.
Exact.
And congratulations, man.
Thank you, man.
We applaud you.
An important event for
Solid.
us. But networking is so important. I mean, for me, the real value of doing what we do is to be able to connect all the dots. I've always traditionally been a guy, I never had that one core of friends. I had 5 groups my hockey group, my high school group, my university group, my whatever group. I was a waiter at Baton Rouge for a long time. I had my waiter group. And so I was always I was always had a lot of different groups. And when I started bringing all these people together at these events, I saw business being, converted. People started hiring one another. Friendships started happening. And I'm just like, this is amazing. And so it encourages you to keep doing what you're doing, because it's so cliche, but your net worth is your network.
Absolutely.
You are the average
Of your 5.
of the people that you're surrounding yourself
Absolutely.
with. And I did so much networking in the beginning. I enjoy it. It's not work for me. It's not work for you. You connect with people easily. Mm-hmm. It's not, you don't dread it and sit in a corner, waiting for someone to come to you. And I think that I've done BNI. I've done corporate connections. These are great organizations to help refine your pitch, how to connect, just to practice with yourself. I mean, this is all practice.
And
right?
honestly, you're very well spoken.
Thank you.
Like really
Absolutely.
communicate.
But this didn't happen. Jamie Benizri, 2008, 2009, would not have spoken to you like this. And I think that it's
because of BNI.
I started in BNI. Then I
What's
started
BNI?
doing other. BNI is a networking
It's
organization.
like breakfast and
It's a breakfast, typically breakfast, but it's Business Networking International. Started by Ivan Meisner, who's actually considered to be the godfather of networking. And they have chapters all over the world.
And he's in Montreal.
No, he's in Texas.
Texas.
And actually, I had an interview. He actually interviewed me in a segment we did a couple of months ago, and we were going back and forth with the digital and all this stuff. And what came of it was he's an old school guy, old school networking guy, face-to-face business card exchange. And you realize that as much as we evolve through LinkedIn, LinkedIn, when you add me, it's going to say, oh, you like Jamie? You may also like these 5 people. LinkedIn is telling me who I should be connecting with. It's crazy. But you realize that as much as we evolve, as much as technology we have, and as much as we do these different things, it always goes back to the basics. The handshake,
Absolutely.
the cigar, the dinner, the steak.
You smoke cigars?
Yeah, often. If you pull one out, I won't say no.
Okay, sooner or later we're gonna go.
Good. And you realize that as much as the trends change and we're swiping right to connect with a contact, not on Tinder, I'm talking about Shaper, as much as these cute little things that we have, it always goes back to the basics, shaking hands, getting into a room, and having consistent face-to-face with our organizations and with our networks. And this is what's going to keep us in business. This is where you're going to get the $1 million contracts. Mm-hmm. Okay, no one's going to reach out to you on LinkedIn saying, "Oh, I have this transaction. I want you to do it," unless it's a scam coming out of Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which I see all the time. But what I don't remember the question again. I've gone off the deep end. I think it was the importance of networking. Networking is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And I think now more than ever is when people should double down.
100%.
Because we're getting further and further away from one another.
Yeah.
We're hiding behind Facebook and Instagram and and it's creating this super false image of ourselves that we don't necessarily realize. Mm-hmm. And so, I was at an event last night and somebody reached out to me, "Hey, you're Jamie Benizri?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, I saw your thing on LinkedIn, and I'm so happy to meet you, and I wanted to reach out to you." And
did you answer yeah or yeah?
Yeah, I'm like, "That's me." I love that. I love when people come up to me, and I want to be the person that I project on social media. I want to be the same way in person. Otherwise, what's the point? I'm not going to be like, yeah, it's me. It's, call me or send me a message. I really want to take the time and get to know everybody in my network as much as humanly possible. But I think now more than ever, we really have to be careful with what we're putting on social media and how we're projecting ourselves, because we don't realize that people often will put us on pedestals. People will see Nick and Jimmy and they'll be like, hey, it's the show and da-da-da-da-da. We have an obligation to the communities the audience that we're building and the reputation that we're trying to build and that we have built. I think we have an obligation to give back, and that needs to convert into real life. Otherwise, there's no point. I'd love to come to a Nick and Jimmy conference. You get all the season 1s and season
March.
2s. You have one?
We'll figure something out. So March.
I want to go, and I want to meet the other people on the show.
Absolutely.
And that's why we did the LinkedIn event. Let's get all the LinkedIn people in a room together and see what happens.
Yeah.
So unless we convert all this digital stuff,
Maybe we'll do something together.
100%, I'd love that.
We
And
will.
this is what I've tried to do. How do you take these digital relationships and convert them into real life?
Absolutely. The Parlay Show with the Nick and Jimmy Show.
You know what I mean? This is what it's all about. You guys have built a platform, you built a following, you built a reputation. Now, what are you going to do with it?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if you have 2,000 likes. It doesn't matter if you're 10,000 likes. You could have 600 likes and have an incredible impact
Absolutely.
on the community. And I think that is the message. And I think once people start attending the face-to-face stuff and getting to meet the Nick and Jimmy All-Stars on season 1 and season 2 and whatever you guys are going to do, that is where, for me, I think you guys are gonna connect on a next level.
Yep.
Because you'll be connecting with your true audience, not
Totally
the people
agree.
who are in the chair. I mean, we're just kind of, we're just a vehicle, a medium through which you guys, we're going to be sharing each other's knowledge.
Absolutely.
But really, ultimately, all three of us want to address ourselves to our networks. So how do we do that? I think it really has to be in face-to-face environments, and you're engaging with people just like we would in the 80s, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? All this is great because now you guys, with this little studio, have as much power as Anderson Cooper. You can put it out the same way, same visuals, the lighting's great. And I think that you guys right now are perfectly positioned with season 2 and beyond to make it, to have a great impact on the community.
And we
I
will.
appreciate that, man.
So I'm
Thank
excited.
you.
I mean, I really hope that you guys accomplish with what you set out to do, and that you stay consistent, because it could be long before you get to where you want to go, but you don't seem like the kind of people that are going anywhere anytime soon.
We're not interested, we're committed.
Yeah,
And when
I can tell, which is a great sign, because you're not doing it for the likes, you're not doing it just for the just to sign autographs, but I get the sense that this is a community-driven show.
Absolutely.
Which is why I wanted to.
And we're having fun with it, man.
Absolutely.
I can tell.
Having fun with it, meeting great people like yourself.
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? And like you said before, we already have a business.
You already have a
It's
business.
not like,
man.
oh my
This is
God,
nuts.
we need to do this now. And we have a business, thank God it's doing really well. You know what I mean? And now we're doing this. And it all started as a joke. Actually, Roshan and the marketing girl said to us, hey, you guys should start your own show. We're like,
We
"Okay,
started
that-"
laughing.
Yeah, we said that's.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, so that's the stupidest idea we ever heard. But then we thought about it and we're like, you know what, man?
Let's give it a try.
Let's give it a
Yeah,
try.
you've got things to say. You've got
Yeah,
things to say.
absolutely, man. So,
This is great.
Let's talk about mentorship. Do you have a mentor? And what drives you?
I have mentors, and I think I wish I spent more time with mentors earlier on. And I,
Who's your mentor?
I have a lot of different mentors. So I don't think I think the mentor à la base for me was my grandfather, who I spoke of earlier, is my mother, who I confide in quite a bit. But I think I have a lot of different people in my life that I go to for different kinds of advice, who are going to be super honest with me. Jamie, you were in a file. I didn't like that you did this. Jamie, I saw you on social media. What you said was super inappropriate for this reason. People that I'm going to confide in. Hey, I have this situation. What do you think? I'm trying to be more open-minded to confiding more in one person, and I've always been more of a not I know best. This is the way it's my way or the highway kind of a guy. I love suggestions and I delegate. So I'm not a control freak. But what I always lacked a leader in my life where I was like, I want to have his leadership. I love the way he works with his staff. I love what he's done for his community. I've never had that one person. And I wish I had earlier on, and I wish I looked for that person earlier on, because I think it would have shaped my career a lot better. And I would have made my mistakes a lot earlier, but more importantly, I would have corrected certain things that I was doing earlier on instead of waiting for it to blow up in my face, which it has on a lot of occasions. So I think the importance is you don't need to have one mentor. I think it's important to have mentors.
In different aspects.
Yeah, people you can confide in. I mean,
And it could be virtual too.
Could be virtual, for sure. It could be virtual. I agree. I mean, so I can't stress the importance enough of confiding in somebody and just being open to criticism, man. You know, just like let yourself, be criticized. You be vulnerable to that one person.
And learn from it and grow
and
from
be
it.
like, you know what I mean? Go and see a coach. Call, Derek Fash from, Breakfast Television, or Stephanie Erickson, who does interviews professionally, and be like, what do you think? Could you watch 2 episodes and just criticize everything? Criticize everything that you do, everything that I say. What do you think I could have asked in this context? So important. It goes back to, making ourselves better every single day. So if you guys, and this goes back to being confident with what you're doing. If you're confident, you'll be able to take criticism and turn it into something super powerful.
Absolutely.
So I think that's where a lot of us, I think a lot of us are so scared of change. We do one thing, we started it, and we're not going to change.
Yeah.
Imagine if I said, guys, you should do the NJ show. Just call it the NJ show. Like, what's Nick and Jimmy? It's too long. You're like, I don't know. We started this way, and we're known this way, and but if I showed you the stats and said, 67% of people reacted better to the NJ show and found the Nick and Jimmy show sounded antiquated, maybe it would influence your decision, And I say, and so that's a kind of a simple example, but a lot of people, once they're on a track, they're in this loop, and we kind of, it's kind of like we get the mortgage, we get a job, and now we're stuck. How am I going to pay the mortgage?
The rat race.
Job? We get into the rat race. And so, we all have to live, we all have to survive, and we all want to kind of do the best that we can do. But it really takes a lot of guts to try to get out of that rat race just for temporarily to see what we're made out of and what we can do. And so I like the Nick and Jimmy show better, by the way. I don't think you should. Thank you. But for me, this is a great example of stepping away from the rat race and doing your own thing in your own way.
Thank you, man.
Awesome. Thank you. So, Jamie, let's say somebody wants to follow you on social media. How can they follow you?
First of all, I can't believe you're not following me yet. I've tried so hard to get you as my follower. Jay Benizri on Instagram, Jamie Benizri on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. And Legal Logic, all stuck together, 2 L's in the middle and a K at the end, for all your legal needs.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much for being on the show today.
I'll see you in March at the NJ conference.
Let's do it.
Absolutely, 100%. And we're going to do some great collaborations together.
I'm really proud of you.
100%, man. Proud of you, dude.
Thank you.
You should be proud of yourself too, man.
It's an honor.
And if you want to hear more stories like Jamie's and you want to get inspired, don't forget to follow the Nick and Jimmy Show on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And of course, follow Jamie.
Thanks, guys.
See you soon.
Getting legal advice should be comfortable, should be easy, and it should be so transparent. There should be no questions asked. We create guides, we create content, we create the feeling you want to have when you're in hot water, when you're excited about starting that dream business. We want to be the referral for anything law. We want to revolutionize law and the way that you see lawyers, which is why I wrote Entrepreneur Inc., which is why I give real estate accredited courses across the province. This is so that people get the right answers in the way that's so comfortable and so easy. Legal Logic is the modern law firm. Legal Logic is your law firm. Legal Logic is the place you go for the next big thing in your life.